I call to order this regular meeting of the Charlotte Planning and Zoning Commission for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Roll call shows that all commissioners are present this evening. Next on the agenda is the invocation given by Vice Chair Roberts, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Wilson. If you'd like to join us, please stand.
Our kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we are truly blessed and we are thankful for the opportunities that we have to be here today. We're grateful that we have the opportunity to guide the business of the city, and we ask that you will guide us to do that in a way that is meaningful and conducive to the city's goals. We ask thee to bring some more moisture on this land, Heavenly Father. We need all the moisture that we can possibly get at this point, so we implore upon you to continue to bless us with moisture so that we can reduce our fire danger. We ask that this meeting will be conducted with civility and in good spirits, and that we can all get along and meet the objectives necessary. And we ask for these blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
If you'll join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now move on to new business. And item A under new business is consideration of conditional use permit 602-04-272 submitted by Brandon and Rebecca Clark to allow for a guest house in conjunction with a residence located at 1860 West Miller, that being APN 309-37-068C. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Celine for the staff summary report.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. The conditional use permit CUP application has been submitted by Brandon and Rebecca Clark to allow for a guest house in conjunction with a residence located at 1860 West Miller, that being APN 309-37-068C. Per the records from Navajo County, the subject property was divided in February 2024 into a parcel measuring 1.21 acres or 52,707 square feet and is zoned R1 7X, single-family residential, manufactured homes excluded, 7,000 square feet. The applicant intends to construct a detached guest house, a living space of 1,232 square feet for a family member alongside their main residence, which will have 2,304 square feet of living area. According to City Code, guest houses are defined as living spaces that consist of one or more rooms designated and intended for occupancy as separate quarters. These include facilities for cooking, sleeping, and sanitation, and may be utilized for income purposes or not. It also states that both the principal and guest house shall be served by a common single electric and water meter. Under City Code 19.50.270A2, one additional single-family dwelling for use as a guest house not to exceed the total living area of the main dwelling, provided that the total intensity of land use shall be a minimum of 8,000 square feet of lot area per dwelling unit, is permitted with a valid conditional use permit. The conditional use permit application for the guest house located at 1860 West Miller, that being APN 309-38-068C, submitted by Brandon and Rebecca Clark, meets all the necessary standards established by the City Code, including minimum lot size and maximum guest size house. According to the site plan, the guest house is set back approximately 32 feet 10 inches from the east property line and 25 feet 4 inches from the north property line. The current zoning of the surrounding properties include north R17X, south R17X, east R17X, west R17X. The current land uses of the surrounding property includes north residential, south vacant residential, east residential, west vacant residential. Transmittal memos were sent to all effective agencies. One comment was made regarding the size limit of the guest house, which was addressed. Timber Mesa Fire made the comment that sprinklers and/or a fire hydrant were recommended but not required. The property was posted, and the letters were sent to all property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. No applicable comments were received. After reviewing the standards for review, finding of facts, discussions with the applicant, and the City of Show Low zoning and land ordinances, and the City of Show Low general plan, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve conditional use permit 602-04-272 submitted by Brandon and Rebecca Clark to allow for a guest house in conjunction with a residence at 1860 West Miller, that being APN 309-37-068C, subject to the following conditions. 1, all development shall comply with all applicable federal, state, and local requirements, including building code and fire codes. 2, the proposed guest house shall conform to all development standards of the zoning district in which it exists, including primary residence setbacks, and shall utilize a shared driveway and utility connections. 3, a maximum of 1 dwelling unit per property area may be utilized for income purposes.
Thank you, Ms. Celine. Open it up to the commission for questions for staff.
Mr. Chair, if I could, before we get into questions, just one correction on the staff report. Item number 10, where we indicate no applicable comments were received. We did receive one phone call specifically for this conditional use permit from an area neighbor. They were just asking general questions. No opposition was received.
Thank you, Director. Other questions for staff?
So just clarification, I see on item 3 on staff recommendations, the Clarks want to put it in for a family member, but they would be able to VRBO this at some point, as it states, correct?
Correct. So under city code, a guest house through a conditional use permit may be used for income purposes. Whether that's short-term or long-term, they would have that ability to rent that out and in the future if a family member was no longer utilizing it.
Correct.
Commissioner Adams.
Yeah, Mr. Tregasis, is there anything odd about this? It seems pretty cut and dry. I don't see anything abnormal. Is this pretty basic in this scenario compared to what we've done in the past?
It's pretty straightforward. The lot size exceeds the minimum lot sizes required. The setbacks that they're proposing for both the primary residence as well as the proposed guest house exceed the minimum requirements. So from a city code standpoint, there is really nothing outstanding on this application.
Director, I do have one question, and I'll try not to confuse the public because I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to the next item, which is adjacent to this one. But I see that it seems like there's a single shared driveway off of West Miller for both parcels. Did you have any discussions with the applicant? I'm happy to ask the applicant as well on, there was nothing in the staff conditions about the access. It said single shared driveway. Was that for both of these properties or just for a single shared driveway for both of these residences on this parcel?
Right. So on the end of West Miller, there's what's referred to as a hammerhead turnaround. That is, we consider that to be a city accepted turnaround there. So they meet the requirements for city street frontage. Each property, so when you have a primary residence with a guest house, city code requires that you have a single driveway that enters the property from the city street. It can then split off and serve both the guest home with one arm of the split and the primary residence with another arm. The intent is that we don't start adding multiple driveways onto public streets, that the one driveway suffices for the entire property. In this case, both this item and the next item, they are, I believe, looking to do a single driveway actually coming off that would end up serving the subject property that we're discussing currently, as well as the property that we'll be discussing as part of the next budget agenda item.
Vice Chair Roberts.
So will that driveway serve both properties then, right?
That's the intent.
And if they do that, legally, how do we guarantee that one or both of those that both of those properties have access? Kind of, we've run into that in the past with landlocked properties. So,
So they both abut a city street. So whether the driveway was shared or not, they both have access to a city street. It really would be incumbent upon the two property owners to record an easement so that future property owners would be able to continue to utilize the same driveway.
I have a question.
Commissioner Whipple.
Is it common for a property like this to share utilities with both dwellings?
So again, under city code, the primary dwelling as well as the guest home are required to share utilities. It's really kind of, I guess, an effort to ensure that the homes are not rented out to two separate people. That if they share a common electric meter, if they share a common water meter, then it's, again, more likely that the owner will reside in one and utilize the other as a guest unit rental, that type of thing.
Has there been proper procedures done to make sure that, there's adequate power, adequate water, for those? A typical home usually runs a 200 amp meter. Can both houses be run on that 200 amp meter, or should it be upgraded? Those kind of things are questions, you want to make sure you have enough power to supply both.
I would defer that question to the applicant. They have submitted building plans to the city for both the primary as well as the guest unit. So those have been under review.
Good, okay. Just checking.
Do you have another question?
yeah. I
Vice
guess
Chair
I can wait for the, are the properties across the street from each other gonna be on separate meters and separate?
So the property to the north, which is the property we're discussing currently, they will be on one set of meters and one set of utility services. The property to the south, which is the one that we'll be discussing next, they will be on their own separate utility services.
Answers my question, thank you.
Are there any questions for the applicant? All right, seeing none, I will open it up. If there's any members of the public who'd wish to speak on this agenda item, you may do so at this time. I just have a question. Yes, just come up to the microphone and you can just state your name and address for the record.
Jill Scoffel, 1740 West Nicholas. And I just want to know, because we got here just a little bit late, but so on each of these lots, are they just building a guest home on each one, or they have to do the main house and a guest house?
Thank you.
I mean, is the main house already there? That they're putting they're going to add a guest house?
I'll let Director Tregaskis answer that question.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So we have on the overhead, kind of outlined in red, the property that we're discussing. It should be on the monitor.
Yeah.
So they access off of West Miller. So there is no access onto Nicholas.
Right.
Currently, the property is vacant. There is no home on the property at this time. What they are requesting is to be able to build a primary home for their use, the applicant's use, as well as a guest unit on the same property. So ultimately, there would be two homes on the same property, both owned by the same individual.
And the guest home would be smaller?
It's approximately 1,200 square feet is the size of the guest home.
And includes a garage? It looked like there was a garage on the guest house.
So, Mr. Chair, we did include the elevations for the proposed guest unit. It was on the overhead.
So it looks like there is.
So a two-bedroom cottage style with an attached garage is what's being proposed there.
Okay. I was just curious since we live nearby.
Yep.
We were just hoping that it wouldn't be real noisy or something if there were Airbnb or something like that.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for any further discussion or a motion on this agenda item.
I can make a motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Wilson.
I move to approve CUP 602-04272 submitted by Brandon and Rebecca Clark to allow for a guest house in conjunction with a residence located at 1860 West Miller, that being APN 309-37068C, subject to staff recommendations.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Whipple. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And that passes unanimously. Director Tregaskis.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As with any conditional use permit, there is a 7-day appeal period. If no appeal is received by an aggrieved individual within that 7 days by the city clerk, this will become effective.
Thank you, Director. We'll move on to item B, consideration of conditional use permit 602-04-273 submitted by Robert and Kathy Eiding to allow for a guest house in conjunction with a residence located at 1861 West Miller, that being APN 309-37-068D. And I will turn it over to Ms. Celine for the staff summary report. I really want you to make it different than the last.
It will be by one number.
Pretty much. A conditional use permit application has been submitted by Robert and Kathy Eiding to allow for a guest house in conjunction with a residence located at 1861 West Miller, that being APN 309-37068D. As per the records from Navajo County, the subject property was divided in February 2024 into a parcel measuring 1.21 acres or 52,707 square feet and is zoned R17X, single-family residential, manufactured homes excluded, 7,000 square feet. The applicants intend to construct a detached guest house with a living space of 1,232 square feet alongside their main residence, which will have 1,684 square feet of living area. According to the city code, guest houses are defined as living spaces that consist of one or more rooms designed and intended for occupancy as separate quarters. These include facilities for cooking, sleeping, sanitation, and may be utilized for income purposes or not. It also states that both the principal and the guest house shall be served by a common single electric and water meter. Under City Code 1950-270 A2, one additional single-family dwelling for use as a guest house not to exceed the total living area of the main dwelling, provided that the total intensity of land shall be a minimum of 8,000 square feet of lot area per dwelling unit, is permitted with a valid conditional use permit. The conditional use permit application for the guest house located at 1861 West Miller, that being APN 309-38068D, submitted by Robert and Kathy Eiding, meets all the necessary standards established by the city code, including minimum lot size and maximum guest house size. According to the site plan, the guest house is set back approximately 27 feet from the east property line and 29 feet from the south property line. The current zoning of the surrounding properties are north R17X, south R17X, east R17X, west R17X. The current land uses of the surrounding properties include north vacant residential, south residential, east residential, west vacant residential. Transmittal memos were sent to all affected agencies. One comment was made regarding the size limit of the guest house, which was addressed. Timber Mesa Fire made the comment that sprinklers or a fire hydrant were recommended but not required. Their property was posted and letters were sent to all property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. One phone call was received with general questions. After reviewing the standards for review, findings of facts, discussions with the applicant, the City of Show Sholo's zoning and land ordinances, and the City of Show general plan, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve conditional use permit 602-04-273 submitted by Robert and Kathy Eiding to allow for a guest house in conjunction with a residence, at 1861 West Miller, that being APN 309-37-068D, subject to the following conditions. Number 1, all development shall comply with all applicable federal, state, and local requirements, including building code and fire codes. 2, the proposed guest house should conform to all development standards of the zoning district in which it exists, including primary residence setbacks, and shall utilize a shared driveway and utility connections. Number 3, a maximum of 1 dwelling unit per property may be utilized for income purposes.
Thank you, Ms. Celine. I'll open it up to the commission for questions for staff.
I just have one.
Commissioner Wilson.
Director Turgaskis, so this would be pretty much the same as the others. You guys have no issue with it. They're meeting all of the code, zoning, all of that, right?
Correct. Again, the subject property exceeds the minimum size required. The size of the units falls within the requirements, and the setbacks are greater than what would be required for a standard home. So,
Okay, thank you.
Any questions for the applicant? Any members of the public wishing to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for any further discussion or motion. Commissioner Adams.
I move to approve CUP 602-04273, submitted by Robert and Kathy Eiding to allow for a guest house in conjunction with a residence located at 1861 West Miller, that being APN 309-37068D, subject to staff recommendations.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, and I have a second by Vice Chair Roberts. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Director Turgaskis.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, with any conditional use permit, there is a 7-day appeal period. If no appeal is received within 7 days from a qualified individual by the city clerk, this will become effective.
Thank you, Director. We'll move on to item C, consideration of conditional use permit 602-04-274, submitted by ChangePoint Integrated Health to allow for an apartment complex up to 40 units located at 2500 East Cooley, that being a portion of APN 210-24-078A. And again, I'll turn it over to Ms. Celine for the staff summary report.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. ChangePoint Integrated Health has submitted a conditional use permit to allow for an apartment complex up to 40 units located at 2500 East Cooley, that being a portion of APN 210-24078A. The proposed project is on the north side of the parcel and is zoned C2 General Commercial, and it currently has a 24,000 square foot building on the south end of the subject property that is owned by the applicant according to Navajo County records. Total area of the subject property, including the existing office building and the proposed apartments, is approximately 4.09 acres. Multifamily dwellings for 10 units require a CUP in the C2 zone and are required to meet the standards of the R27 single-family and multifamily residential 7,000 square feet zone. A site plan has been provided illustrating two-story structures, with each structure consisting of 4 two-bedroom apartments and 16 one-bedroom apartments, which will be constructed in 2 phases. The applicant has indicated that the proposed apartments are intended for individuals who may be receiving behavioral health services. City code requires a minimum of 10,000 square feet of recreational area for 40 units. A minimum of 64 parking spaces are required for this number and type of apartments. The preliminary plans indicate that the open area is 15,302 square feet and has a total of 77 parking spaces. A minimum of 2,500 square feet of the lot area is required per apartment. Total apartments above will be based on the square footage of the property indicated for use by the applicants, including the building footprint, open space recreation areas, and parking. Maximum building height is not to exceed 35 feet. Official plans have not been submitted to the building department, and the final development shall meet all requirements of the city code. The current zoning of the surrounding properties include north, C2 general commercial, south, C1 neighborhood commercial, east, I1 light industrial, west, C2 general commercial. The current land uses surrounding properties include north, Roberts Tire and vacant commercial, south, Art Alliance of the White Mountains County Complex, east, vacant industrial, west, vacant commercial. Transmittal memos were sent to all affected agencies. Applicable comments received include ADOT, a traffic impact statement, a TGP 240A, with trip generation is needed to determine if a full traffic impact analysis will be required. The property was posted and letters were sent to all property owners within 300 feet of the subject property. No applicable comments were received. After reviewing the zoning ordinance, standards for review, findings of fact, discussions with the applicant, and because the request consists with the City of Show Low general plan, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve conditional use permit 602-04258 submitted by ChangePoint Integrated Health to allow for an apartment complex up to 40 units located at 2500 East Cooley, that being a portion of APN 210-24078A, subject to the following conditions. 1, all development shall comply with all applicable federal, state, and local requirements, including building permit, parking, fire district, and ADOT requirements. 2, all drainage on the property shall be designed in accordance with Chapter 17.2050 drainage design and shall not negatively affect any downstream properties. 3, the development shall comply with the R27 single-family and multifamily residential 7,000 square feet requirements of the city code, including density, height, and recreation area requirements. 4, maximum building height shall be limited to a maximum of 35 feet. 5, building design shall include mountain design architecture such as exposed wood beams, stone, split face block, and other complementary natural appearing materials. Number 6, all development shall comply with Chapter 19.100 outdoor lighting control. Lights shall be fully shielded from adjacent properties and roadways. Number 7, East Brady shall have a 20-foot depth of landscaping and adhere to the C2 General Commercial District standards.
Thank you, Ms. Celine. I'll open it up to the commission for questions for staff. Vice Chair Roberts.
I just want to reiterate, there were no neighbors who submitted any kind of a negative comment on that.
Correct. We did not receive any comments, either phone calls, emails, letters. No comments were received.
Commissioner Adams.
Director Traskis, I'll go ahead and ask my normal question. I don't see anything abnormal here. Is there anything that stuck out or that staff is concerned about?
Not particularly. You'll notice that we reference up to 40 units. That's based on the total area that will be available for the apartments. Essentially, we need to be able to see that they've got that 2,500 square feet per unit that will be available. That does include the footprint of the building. That includes open space. That includes the parking lot, any detention areas, landscape areas. So there's quite a few things that go into that, but that's something we would need to verify as we move forward.
Thank you.
Is there any concern on this, going forward, ChangePoint vacates the area, whatever, and we've got apartment buildings, although they are valuable, but they're 1 bedroom, not 2 bedroom, change of hands. You got a couple 2 bedrooms, but primarily 1 bedrooms. Is there a concern there that, and its positioning in the community where it's at, or no?
So as indicated in the staff report, they're proposing currently 2 buildings, each with 20 units apiece for a total of 40 apartments on the property. Each building would be comprised of 16 1-bedroom and 4 2-bedroom units. So they are majority single-bedroom units on that. We've not received, nobody has expressed any concern over primarily single-bedroom units versus majority multi-bedroom units.
Following up on,
Vice Chair Roberts.
following up on Commissioner Hatch's question, what if Change Point was to leave the area and sell those properties to somebody else? In today's market, what would be an approximate rent of a property like that? Commissioner Hatch, can you give me an idea?
Like the rents of it? No. Do I sell?
Well, I'm wondering if they would kind of fit our
No.
definition of a
I'd love
affordable housing.
project, yeah.
So the workforce housing incentives that are available, those are available for apartments for tenants that meet specific criteria. Under the existing proposal, I'm not sure that this project would necessarily qualify. I'm not saying that it wouldn't. You know, there's nothing to say that it couldn't be used for workforce housing in the future if, for whatever reason, this, you know, changed uses.
You're doing 2 phases, right? So I assume one building and then another building. Which building first, closest to Penrod or furthest away? West, so closest to Penrod first.
If you're going to answer a question, just come up to the microphone so we can get it on the record.
Well,
Jeff Oakes, I'm the CEO of Change Point Integrated Health. We've been around since 1966, so I don't foresee us going anywhere anytime soon. So we've been in the community for about 60 years, employed 250 more people. So, yeah.
Vice Chair Roberts.
So your tenants that will be in these units are going through rehab of sorts, or you're trying to provide transitional housing, is that what?
No, it's just apartments. So there could be individuals receiving behavioral health services, but it's not a requirement. So
so it's straight on commercial viability and or coming into your
not a
facility.
licensed facility, it's just rentals. Exactly.
You want a place, we'll rent it to you.
We happen to own the building next to it.
Yeah.
We're renovating that to have a clinic there. So, yeah, that's the intent.
So these then,
Commissioner Wilson. Sorry.
So it's not supportive housing, or some of it is supportive housing for,
No,
It's apartments, yeah.
okay.
it's a for-profit enterprise.
Well, the intent is to provide some supported behavioral health services, but it's not a licensed facility at all. It's their apartments.
Well, I know that you have homes that have, you know, if they're receiving services, you allow them to stay in the homes.
Those are licensed facilities.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
completely different.
okay.
With staff.
Commissioner Whipple.
So why so many single unit apartments when the need is greater for 2 and 3 bedroom?
We felt like it would serve the population that we serve better, so.
So you aren't trying to
That's
gear it
good
toward
to
your
hear, and
needs?
maybe the second phase will
Yeah.
look at
Because
all
like I said,
two-bedroom
there just seems to
apartments.
be a large need for 2 and 3 bedroom housing. A lot of people are looking for that. And yet you're building a whole bunch of
Maybe we
singles
can free
that,
some of those and then make more available.
yeah,
But I appreciate you sharing that.
yeah.
Is there any concern with the industrial right next door that somebody would,
I don't think so.
residential? I mean, I don't want to live right.
With the tire shop, you mean?
No, just to the east there.
Oh, to the east.
Not vacant residential.
At this point, no, because it's just vacant right now. So the only thing I know there used to be a bus stop there, and we may try to get another bus stop at some time in the future. But yes.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, you're good, Doug.
you have an estimated rent that you're going to be charging your tenants there?
I don't.
Commissioner Wilson.
Oh, sorry, you had your hand up too. So I'm a little disappointed. We need supportive housing, okay? You know, let's break this social economic barrier we have with the lack of housing here. So, no, but thank you nice to see you again.
Vice Chair Roberts.
Along those same lines, is it possible for these units to qualify for subsidized HUD housing? Are you gonna apply for that?
It's not Section 8, and I'm not knowledgeable on that process, but it could be available for low income with yeah,
I don't know if it would meet the guidelines or not.
yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, gentlemen. Any members of the public wish to speak on this agenda item? We can open up the podium for that at this time. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for any further discussion or motion. Vice Chair Roberts.
I move to approve. Thank you.
Oh, I got the wrong one. I'll take this. I wasn't reading as I was going along. I move to approve CUP 602-04274, submitted by Change Point Integrated Health, to allow for an apartment complex up to 40 units located at 2500 East Cooley, that being a portion of APN 210-24078A, subject to the recommendations of our planning and zoning.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Roberts. Do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Wilson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And that passes unanimously. Director Trigaskis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, with any conditional use permit, there is a 7-day appeal period. If no appeal is received by the city clerk from a qualified individual, this will become effective.
Thank you, Director. Move on to item 6, call to the public. If there's any citizen wishing to speak on a matter within the jurisdiction of the Planning and Zoning Commission that's not on the agenda this evening, you may do so at this time. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 7, approval of the minutes. And I lost the sheet. So do I have a motion on the approval of the minutes from, I don't have the date of the meeting in front of me.
So moved.
Do we need does she need to say what the date is?
February 25th.
February the 25th. Do I have a motion on the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of February the 25th, 2025?
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting.
I have a motion by Commissioner Wilson. I have a second by Vice Chair Roberts. All those in favor say aye. Aye. That passes unanimously. And moving on to item 8, summary of current events. We'll begin with Commissioner Wilson.
I just want to say to Commissioner Roberts, it has been a joy working with you.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck in the future. I'm sad to see you go.
I plan to stay involved.
You're leaving?
Yeah, Brandon got voted in my place at the last council meeting.
Well, good riddance. No, just
You know, I couldn't have expected anything
my
less.
neighbor. I love you to death. No. The Great Dane Sholem. Thank you.
Mr. Whipple.
Just, we're heading into a fun time of year. Spring's here, summer's coming. There's lots of fun things to do. Get out and enjoy the city and all the things we offer, but also be fire wise, be cautious. We still are in fire danger, so.
I'm going to echo Commissioner Hatch. It's a great day in Shola.
I just
Vice Chair
want,
Roberts.
I want to thank everybody who has put up with me and worked with me and
Enjoy.
been gracious with me all through these years. I have enjoyed my time here. I look forward to staying involved with the city in one way or another, and you'll still see me around. So thank you very much. On a public note, we are not out of fire danger yet. So we need to be conscious of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Roberts, and I'll echo, it's been great working with you and miss having you sit next to me at these meetings, and glad you made it to this meeting. I know you're a little banged up tonight,
I
but
was
I'm
not sure if I was going to be here. or
I'm
not.
glad you were able to make it, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Director.
Thank you. So just a few things. First of all, let the commission and public know we do not have a meeting scheduled for April 8th. We will follow through on official postings and things like that, but wanted to let you guys know that at this point. Also, just a reminder on fire restrictions, we are in stage 1. We did get a little bit of moisture the last week or two, but we need a lot more. So please be careful. Also, be cognizant and recognize the fire danger there around your homes. The city's got some pretty good programs coming up in the next couple months where green waste and other types of debris material can be just set out by the curb or hauled out to the green waste facility or to the transfer station at no charge. So certainly encourage property owners to get out and take some responsibility, clean up their properties. And then finally, would like to offer sincere appreciation to Vice Chair Roberts for his service. I believe, if I'm correct, he has served for about 6 years on the commission and has missed 2 meetings in that period. One meeting in 6 years. As an example of his dedication, he literally was ran over by a truck yesterday, Sunday. And yet he still came to the meeting, banged up, bandaged up, but he made it the point to be here. Again, a testament to his dedication to what he does. And just kind of a quick story of the type of person that Doug is and the type of things that he does for the community. Several months ago, he happened to be at City Hall doing some business there. And there was an individual who came in to utilize the charging stations for their electric vehicle. And they were down to about a double A's worth of electricity. I mean, they were down to about nothing. And they weren't able to get the chargers that were at City Hall, they weren't able to get those to work with their vehicle. For some reason, they weren't quite compatible, needed an adapter, that type of thing. Doug took it on himself. He volunteered. He took his own personal vehicle and drove that person around to several different charging stations in the area until they found a location that this individual would be able to charge their vehicle at. All the way down in Pine Top. So, not anything that he was asked to do. He saw a need and he stepped up and took care of it. And we look forward to working with Doug either back on the Planning and Zoning Commission at some point or in another capacity with the city. We don't think he's going away. So thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
Unless another truck runs.
Takes more than a truck, right?
This time,
I'm
feel
very
bad for the
blessed.
truck.
I am truly, truly very blessed, and I appreciate everything that everybody has done. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Director Tregaskis. Seeing no other items on the agenda, I will adjourn us.